What's going on, guys? Maelstrom here with some Reign of Jafar Day 1 deck lists. Reign of Jafar is on the horizon, and all of us are excited to see how this set impacts the meta. There are quite a few new tools to help out existing decks, and potential for some new archetypes to break through. Here are a few deck ideas that we've come up with so far.
Hello everyone, Sailor here to present you with the Day 1 deck list. This time, not Ruby Sapphire.
Did not see that coming.
But a deck that I think is very, very promising. One that I have been able to play in the last format and finish first at the 2K in Randolph and Montreal back in April. So this one is trying to abuse the new card Beyond the Horizon. It is an Emerald Steel deck, so it plays similarly as the one we've played before with this card. Played first with the Bucky back in the Ursula's Return metagame, and then repopularized by Zen Said at the Las Vegas DLC. This one tries to abuse the Beyond the Horizon by being able to basically put all your cards onto the field or sing songs to prevent your opponent from having characters on board, and then play Beyond the Horizon to replenish yourself, plus potentially discard some of the cards that they have. But there's even more to that, whereas if you have Prince John, by the time you can sing this, you are able to draw every time they discard a card. And if you sing it with Ursula, Deceiver of All, and Amuses, for example, you can have it sing it twice, and then in between the two, you can bounce a character potentially from what they have that has 2 power or less with the Muses back to their hand to make them discard for the second singing of the Beyond the Horizon. So how that works is that you're gonna sing it first with Ursula and the Muses. You're gonna make yourself discard your hand, draw 3, right? Make them discard their hand. So how many cards that they have in their hand you're gonna be able to draw from the Prince John. So let's say they had 4, right? Which would be reasonable, right, amount. So that would be the 3 from the Beyond the Horizon plus, let's say, the 4 from the one that they discard that you would get from the Prince John. That would be totally 7. And then you could play it again, but in between the 2 songs, right, you could use the Muses trigger, bounce a character. So now they have 4 cards, and then you play it again, but not on you, right, because now you have 7 cards. Make them discard 4, and you draw 4 more cards, putting up to 11 cards in hand. You had 0, well, you had Beyond the Horizon potentially, or 1 more, right? Whatever you had left. And now you're at 11, and they only have 3 left, right? From there, you maybe have like another singer, or maybe 2 ink left after you've played the Prince John and having ink that turn in order to do more sudden chills and make them discard beyond the 3 that they have. That seems incredibly powerful. Ways to potentially stop that would be to play a shift beat. So that's why we got 4 shift beat into this, so that you prevent your opponent from doing similar things, right? We also played a new chip that can be part of the singing of the Beyond the Horizon, since it is a sing together song, and you have a bunch of 3 cost singer in that deck. So you want to maximize of those 4 cost singer in order to maximize your chance of being able to sing it. Because yes, singing it with Muses and Ursula is the most optimal line, but in many scenarios, as we know, we can not always pull it off, and so we want other ways to do it. And the chip also triggers the Prince John in order to make them discard and draw you a card. So it also has some synergies that replaces the Hypnotize that we used to run in that list. A very oppressive deck, very, very mean to your opponent, but one that I think is extremely powerful and that you should be prepared for.
Hey guys, Xenulous here, bringing you my Day 1 Emerald Amethyst list for Reign of Jafar. Now this is a different approach to the ink combination that started to perform really well last set, but I think we got a couple of additions that help it out a lot. We have a total of 12 Shift Diablos for turns 1 and 2, basically guaranteeing we get everyone's favorite bird out early, as well as a whole host of characters that are evasive and hard to deal with one after the other.
Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
The 2 cards I'm really excited about in Reign of Jafar are
Pull the lever!
as well as Pull the Lever acts as a hypnotize replacement, but has the advantage of getting to choose to draw 2 cards or making your opponent discard a card, helping the discard package we have in Prince John and Sudden Chill, and overall helping the disruption of the deck. Speaking of disruption, one of the biggest weaknesses this ink combination has always had is removal. Elsa and Merlin Crab have generally been our biggest ways to trade into opponents' boards, but Wrong Lever may help us bridge the gap. Having 2 abilities, being able to bounce a character to an opponent's hand, or being able to put a character on the bottom of their deck if we have a Pull the Lever in our discard, gives us the missing piece we've always needed. These 2 cards synergize really well with Diablo in general, since you can always discard a Pull the Lever to shift him, making sure your Wrong Lever's second effect is always live, giving you an easy way to pull off the combo without having to spend 6 ink. I think these 2 cards synergize so well with what we are already trying to do, and I can't wait to give this list a shot.
Wonderland here, and today I'm going to talk to you about Amber Steel Song and how we're going to add some new cards from the new set into it and just like kind of attack the format with the traditional aggressive Steel Song list that we all kind of know, but instead of a whole new world, we're going to be trying out Beyond the Horizon, and then we're also going to be backing that up with You Have Forgotten Me, which is, you know, something we haven't played since around set 1, but it has some pretty big impact there. People try to empty their hand quickly in preparation for a whole new world, or in this case Beyond the Horizon, and then you can easily snipe their last few cards with You Have Forgotten Me, and you don't even have to let them draw cards with Beyond Horizon. Or you quickly ramp with a Cinderella into either Troubadour or Ursula, then you play an Ariel, grab the Beyond Horizon, sing it, put you both down to 3 cards, they draw a card up to 4, they ink a card, they play a card, they're down to 2 cards in hand, you ready up with 4 ink, you shoot the You Have Forgotten Me off at them, and then you should be able to, at that point, outvalue your opponent.
Simba, you have forgotten me.
No! And so you're kind of a mid-range control combo deck that can also be very aggressive, and you have some explosive starts. And then you have cards like Beast to redraw more cards and keep you going. You can use Rapunzel to continue your card advantage. And then we're playing a full set of Along Came Zeus to take advantage of the fact that we're running a full 8 2-cost Singer 4s. We're maxing out on being able to sing our songs as quickly and as aggressively as we can. It's kind of interesting to see how this deck is slightly leaning towards more of how Emerald Steel goes when combating the Ruby Sapphire list by just like knocking their most valuable cards out of their hand while playing a tempo game. And instead of us playing the discard cards until the very end, we're basically just forcing them to empty their hand in preparation of a Beyond the Horizon or a whole new world. But being able to sing Beyond the Horizon and then play You Have Forgotten Me in the same turn on turn 4 if we don't play the Beyond Horizon on turn 3 is also quite powerful, because we just pushed them from 5-6 cards down to 1 on their turn, and we took a turn off. So unless they're being incredibly aggressive, it allows us to just like put them at almost no resources. They just like lose an important developmental stage of their game and put them in a top deck mode with very few ink in play. And that's like the game plan of this deck, and that's why a lot of people are kind of scared of Beyond the Horizon, is it has a lot of implications of just like making it a non-game for your opponent if you're able to play it early enough. People already were like, oh, my opponent whole new worlded me and I just drew 7 bad cards. Just wait till you only draw 3 cards. I think this is a great starting point for Amber Steel Song. I think a lot of people are going to come up with a fairly similar-ish list, but this is probably around what the standard's going to be for most of set 8. We have to see how the meta settles before we really add any more spice to it. But I would be playing this at the first few weeks' events, and I would expect very similar to this outlook. Maybe not on the You Have Forgotten Me. Maybe that's some hot tech you'll be able to bring that your opponents aren't seeing yet. But until then, good luck in all your events, and I'll talk to you later.
You can take away my toys, but you will never take away my spirit and determination. Which is why Duke Baldington III, aka RMB, is back at it again with another Sapphire Steel Day 1 deck list. Though this one's gonna look a little different from the types of lists you've all come to expect from me. The list before you is my take on a new version of the popular Kiwi Birds list that Harlan and Jack Shadows have popularized over the last few sets, as a more of curve-out aggro game plan that looks to take advantage of the synergies between Alice, Savvy Sailor on turn 3, into a turn 4 Pluto Guard Dog. One of the biggest detractors to this style of deck for me in the past was its dependency on Doc Bold Knight as your only real draw engine to refill. But thankfully, I think Reign of Jafar is bringing us some new tools to improve our draw engines, apply extreme pressure, and continue to force our opponents to become the reactive deck as we threaten Lorthal. We've got 4 new cards from Reign of Jafar that I've slotted right into this new Zoolander strategy I like to call looters. First up, we've got Stitch Experiment 626, which is an uninkable 3/3 that quests for 2 that says when you play this character, each opponent puts the top card of their deck into their inkwell face down and exerted. And at the start of your turn, if this card's in your discard, you can choose and discard a card that's inkable to play this character for free, and it enters play exerted. I do think that this card is very, very underrated right now. We've also got Arthur Determined Squire, which is one of our dual inks. It's a 4-cost inkable 6/6 that quests for 3, with the drawback of skip your turn's draw step. That's a chunky boy right there.
Now that's more like it!
We've also got Namari Single-Minded Rival, 5-cost inkable 0/5 with 2 lore that states when you play this character and at the start of your turn, you can draw a card and then choose and discard a card. This character also gets +1 strength for each card in your discard. I can tell you right now, locations are not going to be safe with Namari around. And finally, we've got Desperate Plan, an uninkable 3-cost action that states if you have no cards in your hand, draw until you have 3 cards. Otherwise, you can choose and discard any number of cards and then draw that many cards. This is effectively Docks 5 through 7. Now, there are still quite a few staples from previous Kiwi builds. However, we do start to see a couple new faces popping in. Like Tipo. This growing sun does something I think should be studied by scientists all over the world. He enables a turn 3 6/6 that quests for 3. I don't know about you, but that sounds like an end the game pretty expeditiously. We've traded out some of our previous 1-drops like Robin Hood, Happy, and the Sticky Mickey for Mulan and Simba to help churn through our deck, finding the pieces we need to interact with just enough to checkmate our opponents. Between Doc, Desperate Plan, and Sad Beast, we have more draw tools than ever in our pseudo-aggro curve-out deck to continuously apply pressure. Now, I do want to talk about the alien in the room, and I'm not talking about Stitch again. I'm talking about the Pleekster himself. Now, I've made it quite known in the Sapphire Steel community my disdain for Pleekly, and it's because I've never had something I really, really wanted to target with its ability until Arthur Determined Squire came around. Now, sometimes Arthur's going to threaten to just end the game really quickly and your opponent's going to be forced to overcommit to removing it, and other times they simply ignore it, answer all your other threats, and start racing you. Not drawing is a huge drawback, especially if the Sad Beast you played right after ate one of those, Zeus's cool lightning bolts right to the face.
And then along came Zeus, he hurled his thunderbolt.
Sometimes you have to take your lumps, make a value trade, or get your 3 lore in before sending Arthur to Inkwell and start drawing cards again, which is the reason why I've included Pleekly here. I'm so excited to try looting my way to victory in Reign of Jafar with my new Sapphire Steel Looters deck list, and you should give it a try.
Hello there everybody, Bannibal here, and I think one of the decks that got the most interesting new cards from Reign of Jafar is the Chernadogs deck. I think the obvious improvement for the deck is the 1-drop Lady. If you ever get to quest for 3 with this Lady, the card is absolutely bonkers. Now, it's pretty difficult to do it twice in one game, but the 2-drop Tramp and the 5-drop Cricky are easy ways to do it, otherwise playing 3 1-drops on turn 3 is an option, or playing the new Lady Family Dog as well as an additional 1-drop on turn 4 are all options. Otherwise, the stats are perfectly fine. It's very similar to 1-drop Nala, which we're already playing, or Prince John as well, the 04s. Beyond that, I think, as I mentioned previously, one more new tool we got is Lady Family Dog, which just gives us an aggressive, explosive turn 3 play. You do have to make sure that you're playing a critical mass of 2-drops to make sure that it's good, but if you do that, I think the card's probably pretty decent. And the other big new tool I think this deck got is the 6-drop Shift Tramp, and I think the benefit of this card is obviously just sweeper protection, but it's pretty difficult to remove for non-Ruby decks, and yeah, just an all-around good card I think we're going to want to play. As far as the numbers, you know, when you're looking at day 1 deck lists, it's very difficult to nail down exact numbers for cards, so things move around a lot. But overall, yeah, you've just got a bunch of good aggressive 1-drops and 2-drops, some recursion in the form of Lilo Escape Artist, as well as the uninkable 5-drop Lady, some card draw in Rapunzel, and of course the filtering of the 7-drop Tramp and the very powerful top end of Chernabog if and when we fill our bin. But yeah, that's the deck, and I think it's going to be pretty good this set.
How we doing, Stormies? Humble here with my day 1 deck list. And it shouldn't be a surprise by now. It's LilyFasa. This is going to be the King's last format and standard. At least as of right now, with no reprint announcement. Ravensburger, please?
Long live the king.
But I intend to give him the proper send-off he deserves. Jafar may be the bad guy, but he's brought us a ton of new toys to play with and make this version of the list one of the strongest yet. Prince John, Fraidy Cat, is just the kind of build-around tool we needed to pair with an old meta staple, Flynn Rider, Frenemy. If you finally thought you'd seen the last of his handsome smolder, you'd be mistaken, as now we have a consistent way to actually gain lore off his ability. Having a 5/5 come down on turn 3 to abuse Flynn's lore gain has proven difficult for most decks to deal with. Prince John's ability is less of a drawback for us since we have Rapunzel, helping us draw cards and being a quote-unquote punish for the opponent progressing their board. PJ also happens to work pretty well with another new card, Tinkerbell, Insistent Fairy. We see in previous versions of Mufasa the inclusion of cards like Super Goof and Wreck-It Ralph as ways to help close the game out with additional reach, although they can sometimes be unhelpful. Tinkerbell has the ability to turn any of our bigger characters into an immediate 2 lore, a condition that is easily met in this list. She also happens to allow Maui to quote-unquote quest, making him more useful, which is why he makes his way back into the deck. The last new card I want to highlight is Goofy, Groundbreaking Chef. Inkable is massive for us. His stat line is amazing, and the fact that he quests for 2? Chef's kiss. All around positive checks in the box for this beloved character. But his ability is really what he's here for. Being able to heal and ready is huge for this deck, especially since we utilize challenging as the primary way to deal with opposing characters. Overall, Goofy's a great addition to this roster. You'll notice that I've decided to not tech for Steel Song. This is because I've opted to give myself the best chance into the wider field and not just the one deck. But that doesn't mean I don't have that thing on me. If you want the best matchup possible into Steel Song exactly, I'd suggest this, or at least something close to it. Minnie Mouse, Daring Defender, being a 0/8 that gains strength through every damage on her, will help us against that Steel Song menace. We have included a good selection of high willpower characters to get around all those songs to keep some board pressure. We even see Teeth Inhibitions as a way to deal with some of those singers. I would not suggest this build unless you really wanted to beat Steel Song only and then lose to most everything else. But I do want to keep everyone informed as we send Mufasa off into retirement. May Mickey bless your Mufasa flips. Love you. Stay back.
That's it for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed the deck lists. As the meta progresses, we will be updating these lists in our Discord every week, so check us out over there. Like and subscribe to the channel as it really helps us out, and we'll be seeing you in the next one.